Crazy? No, I'm perfectly sane. The voices in my head said so. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I'd like to sit back in my pretty squeaky chair, relax, and have a fun old time answering a viewer question or questions, because it is a two-parter. One of you guys reached out to me via email to ask me a pair of questions. First, which is just asking me how I decide personally which premium cards I decide to hold on to and which ones I decide to sell. The second is more about timing. Basically, they're asking what my policy is on posting cards for sale when I post cards and what kind of priorities I have for it. And these are both, I think, fairly easy questions to answer, but they do both pertain to my own personal habits. And you know what? I am nothing if not the kind of guy who does like talking about just the things that I enjoy doing. So, first ones, I think they're both fairly easy to answer. Let's tackle the first one. Let's just tackle them in order. How do I decide which cards to keep? It depends on the card game, honestly. For card games that I'm actively playing, like Flesh and Blood, basically at the moment, am I actively pursuing other card games to play? Because I have most of what I want for Mega Man and... Let's just use Flesh and Blood as the example, okay? For Flesh and Blood, I play Mechanologist. I only play Mechanologist. So whenever a new set comes out, if it has Mechanologist cards, I do my best to make sure that I have a full play set of every Mechanologist card from that set, so that if I ever in the future might need to play it for any deck I'm running with Mechanologist, I have the card on hand and I don't have to go around last-minute shopping before going to tournaments and such. The other cards I like to always hold on to when it comes to Flesh and Blood is cold foils. I've said it before on this channel, and I'll say it a bazillion times. In my opinion, Flesh and Blood's cold foils are among the most beautiful trading card game card pieces we've ever had for any game. They are almost all stunning, beautiful, whatever synonyms for highly aesthetically pleasing you'd like to select. So whenever I pull cold foils, I pretty much never sell cold foils. I will trade them for other cold foils, obviously, but I pretty much never part with them. And that's just a part of my personal habit, honestly. This is not advice. I'm not telling everybody out there to hold on to your cold foils. They're only going to go up. I'm not holding on to them for value reasons. I'm holding on to them because I like them. I think they look beautiful, and whether they are mega cheap or mega expensive, I don't really feel like parting with any of them, just because I think that they are just stunningly beautiful. For other card games, though, deciding what I want to hold on to becomes a bit more nuanced. So for a while, you guys might know that I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I played Yu-Gi-Oh! way back in the day, basically from the beginning of its English release. And I played it up until... I want to say 2013, 2014. And for a while there, I was deciding a lot of... It was really easy, too. I was deciding what Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards to hold on to based on where I thought the meta was going. And this was easy, like I said, in part because Yu-Gi-Oh!'s meta in America trails behind the Japanese meta. Not perfectly. It's not a perfect 3-month advantage you get to see by looking at what the Japanese meta is doing, but... For a while, you could get a pretty good idea of which cards would be good in an upcoming set just by looking at Japanese tournament results. I don't know if that is still true, because I don't keep up with the modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame at all. But back when I was playing it, you could get a really good idea of which cards were going to be really highly sought after, or what cards were going to be changed by an upcoming release, just by looking at what Yu-Gi-Oh! Had going on in Japan. And so for a while there, especially when you're valuing stuff in your trade binder, because back then I was doing a lot of card trading rather than card selling, it was kind of very easy to just go, no, I'm going to hold on to this card or that card, or maybe I'll try to get rid of this card because I know it's going to be made obsolete. A good example was, I don't know, I can't name a good example off the top of my head of cards like I held on to because of a metagame, but I did know, like, there's a laundry list of cards that we were like, yeah, we need this for an upcoming deck. So many good stuff. So many cool cards. I remember when Dark Armed Dragon was on its way to the English release, and people were freaking the hell out about it. Fun times, fun times. But yeah, basically, it's a case-by-case basis based on the card game in question. If I have a feeling that a card is going to be more valuable, and that's a gut feeling, you can totally do you can do market studies, evaluations, you can research all the meta decks and such, and tell yourself, man, this card can go up, but you're not going to be any more accurate with predicting card prices than you are going to be with predicting stock prices. Just let me tell you that right now. You can totally do it, and you can get lucky from time to time, and you can buy out a pile of cards that ends up going up in value. But unless you have some kind of insider knowledge, or you can see the future, running individual predictions for cards that you think might go up in the future it's just not a winning game in my experience, from what I've seen both for myself and others. Because I did try that for a bit, and no, it does not work out that well. Even if you're like 1,000,000,000% sure about cards going up, you can still be wrong. You can still be very wrong. So I don't really, nowadays at the very least, when I hold on to cards, it's for gut reasons or aesthetic reasons. Like I said, I hold on to cold foils for Flesh and Blood because I like them, not because I think they're going to be ongo bongo super valuable in the future. I hold on to what few reserve list cards come in just because the chance of getting more of them is low, unless I think I can make a big enough profit selling them. So again, it's kind of play it by ear when it comes to which cards I'm holding on to and which cards I'm parting with. As for the second part of this question, which is the timing question, the individual is asking me what my personal guidelines are on policies for posting cards for sale. And they have a bit of a add-on here. I know that there's a rush to post premium singles, but that waiting for the first rush may allow markets to settle. Yeah, it's true. There is always a rat race at release to try and race to the bottom for a lot of card games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially nowadays is very guilty of this, where you can see prices just collapse as individuals try to make sales. Pokemon does it, Magic does it, every card game does it, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Seems it a lot, especially with the sealed product market, where sellers are just trying to get as much money out of their boxes as they can. As for me, my policy on when to post cards is very simple. I post cards on TCG Player when I get around to it. Part of the it's something I don't talk about when it comes to bulk, but when you are really dealing with bulk, and I mean like really dealing with bulk, like thousands upon thousands of cards, more often than not, you do not have the luxury of really deciding when to time what cards you're putting up. It has to be, you have finished with this pile of cards, that's going on to TCG Player. You have finished with this set of cards, it's going on to TCG Player. I do try to have new releases, Flesh and Blood's Compendium set, for instance, just got listed before I recorded this video, for instance. So I do try my best to, when I have cards from a new set, put them out and make sure that they are ready to go before the set is available, but I don't always have the opportunity to do that. Good example was, what was it, Bloomborough? I opened like 2 boxes of Bloomborough, and I didn't actually get to list them on TCG Player until like 3 weeks after release, something like that. Just because I had so many other things that I was working on. My backlog for stuff to add on to TCG Player was so huge. Because when you're working with thousands of cards and you're adding so many cards to your inventory per day, you don't really have the opportunity to go up and say, okay, I'm going to push this stuff forward. You can work on stuff and you can try to like move things around, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's all going on anyway. So just trust your own personal workflow and get that stuff added on. Obviously, if you're not dealing with bulk, then you can be a bit more selective. You can look at your more expensive cards and go, hey, I want these on first because the faster these sell, the better. And you can do that with bulk too, because there are certain bulk sets. There are certain sets where the bulk there is more valuable. It's going to sell faster. For Force of Will, for instance, I know that Vingolf 3 is a better set to have more cards of than, for instance, Ancient Knights, which is a dog water set in my opinion. Vingolf 3 cards tend to sell pretty well. Alice Origin 1 cards tend to sell really, really fucking well. So same as Prologue of Ataraxia. So when I get a bunch of bulk piles of there, when I get a bunch of Force of Will bulk, sorry. When I get a bunch of Force of Will bulk and I see that I have my options of posting a bunch of Ancient Knights cards or Alice Origins cards, I'm going to try to prioritize the Alice Origin cards. But again, at the end of the day, if you just have so much stuff worked up in your backlog, you just got to pick away at whatever you can. You don't really have the option to look and go, okay, I should put this on sooner or later. It's just you just kind of got to work with whatever you got, right? And as for post-release, for instance, if I get more expensive cards, like not bulk cards, obviously it's going to take me 2 seconds to throw that stuff on the inventory. So if I've got 5 minutes and I have a pile of not bulk cards that need to get thrown on, those will obviously get prioritized. So I should probably mention that as well. But yeah, those are some viewer questions, and those are just some ways that I sort of choose what I'm doing here behind the scenes. Yeah, I hold on to cards that I like, and I sell whatever the hell else I'm not too interested in holding on to. It's crazy, I know, but it really is that simple. And you'll find that most, not all, but most vendors, buyers, sellers, whatever, are going to have similar policies, in my opinion. There are some people out there who are completely disinterested, for instance, in collecting cards entirely. They are focused 100% on the profit, and that's fine. There are some people who are 100% focused on collecting, and they just sell some cards on the side that they think they can make a small profit on, maybe just to fund their collection gig, and that's fine too. I like to think of myself as somewhere in the middle where I am buying, I am selling, but I'm also holding a few cards off to myself because I like them. So, is that simple? I hope that was a satisfactory answer to those questions for you guys. It is late, so I'm going to head inside and tuck myself into bed because I'm a sleepy boy, and it is midnight 30 here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you buy, sell, or collect. I'm assuming you do if you watch this channel, but I could be very wrong. Check out the Discord. Check out the Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.